Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video of my Honda Rebel here. So the last video I may have made, I don't remember very well, was to do with the Speedo. So my Speedo stopped working while I was training for taking my full license, which I can say I passed. I passed my test, so I can buy a bigger bike now. Nevertheless, I want to fix this one because otherwise I may abandon it and it will never get fixed. So I'm looking into it today, and like I was saying on the last video, I established that the Speedo is not working, but the establishment was that the cable is not broken. So the cable goes down here and it's got a Phillips screw in there. If we remove that Phillips screw and don't lose it, you can actually take this little thing out. In there is like a flathead screw kind of thing, but it's not a screw, it's the actual cable. That little flathead thing contacts this inside and it turns as the wheel goes, and the cable turns and it turns the Speedo. So my cable was fine. After I tested it, what I did is I just got a drill and a flathead drill bit and spin that drill, and the Speedo was working. So now I believe, I guess the problem must be in here, and so I'm gonna remove the front wheel so I can remove this little thing here and see what's happening inside. So apparently inside of here there's a little plastic thing that wears out and stops, doesn't let the Speedo work properly. So to remove this wheel, I've already loosened some things, by the way. So I loosened this bolt here. This is a 12mm bolt, and now I'm in the process of loosening this one. That's a 12mm, that's a 17mm. So but obviously you want to disconnect that cable first, because once you take this bolt out, the wheel will basically fall out, so it will come out, but so you don't want to damage the cable. So anyway, that's what I'm doing at the moment, and I'm in the process of removing this bolt, which hopefully will release that wheel. Okay, so here's the wheel, and just be careful with that little spacing thing that is on the other side. So that was just sitting there, by the way, so just don't lose it. Okay, let's take this bit out now. So that's what that is. And it looks like this is the bit that rotates, that plastic bit there, which in turn rotates that, which then turns the cable. So if we can take this out. Okay, so here's the bit. With one of these, very carefully, I just got it from the side and sort of pulled it out of it. But I don't want to cut it, obviously, so you have to be careful with that. I'm not sure there's another way of removing this, but because of the grease, so there we are. Now, to be honest, this little gear thing, what they told me is that this part here wears out, and as it does, it stops turning that bit that's in there, and as a result the whole thing stops working. However, to be fair, I can't really see that this is damage as such. The bike hasn't done many miles at all. These all feel okay, to be honest, unless they are sort of worn out this way. So technically that goes in there, and again it just turns, and it turns that little thing in there. So it's all a little bit confusing, really. Okay, so I really can't see anything wrong in here. Whenever I turn that, the little thing in here is actually turning without any issues in there. As you can probably see, that turns. However, when I put the cable in there and I turn the wheel, so where we are here, I turn the little wheel, this is not turning unless if I press this cable down a bit, if I press it in, it actually starts turning. So I guess the possibility here is that the cable is worn out. Maybe it's worn out here. I don't think this is the problem, but it could be this little thing in here that's worn out. So it's either that or the cable, or there's supposed to be something that presses this down on the actual side of the Speedo. Okay, I took this clock a little bit apart, just rotated it here. It's only two 8mm nuts that you remove and the little cover comes out, and I just rotated this clock so just to see what's in there, but there's nothing in there as such. It's just that cable, that little bit there, square bit goes in there, and as it rotates it sort of turns the Speedo. So it goes all the way in until it comes to a stop, so it's just like a square hole in there. So what I've decided to do is I just made a little square bit here from an old nail, and I'm just gonna put it in there somehow. So what I want to do is put it in there. It's just a tiny little piece, and that will sort of push my cable out a little bit, and then see if that actually helps makes the Speedo work. It will then give me an idea that okay, that's gone in there, and then if I can screw that on there, just want to see if that pushes this out a little bit, but that's still quite in, so it looks like I need a longer one because I really want that bit to stick out, so it can make contact with the other side, and then I can move on from there. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just doing a small experiment, sort of modification here, to see if that actually works. If that works, then it might be that I need a new cable here. Okay, so I've decided to fit this back. I'm gonna fit it back, and I'm going to I've already I made a few of these little pins, different sizes, so I can see which one might work better, pushing that cable out a little bit. It just needs to go out a little bit so it can make contact with that. If that works, then I have a feeling that something is wrong somewhere here with the cable or with this part here. Difficult to say at the moment, to be honest. So anyway, it could be a permanent fix as well, because all it needs is for that wire to be pushed out a little bit. So refitting this wheel, just reversal of removal, and that's what I'm going to do now, and then we can test the bike and see if the Speedo is actually working. Just one thing to note here maybe is that this bit here, when you refit this, obviously the cable came down like this, so obviously you don't want to fit that this way or that way. It has to go, when you fit the wheel back, that bit there is gonna make contact with that bit behind that bit there. So that's more or less how it's gonna line up. And don't forget your little spacer, which it came out of mine on the other side. So it's not rocket science really. Put the spacer, make sure that it's in the correct line there, and then you can tighten your bolt. Tighten that bolt and then tighten that bolt. So at the moment I'm a bit unsure about torque settings, which is why I put a bit of Tipex on there and on the bolt and here as well, so I know that once I reach tightening point, this will be sort of a guide there. I saw a similar video on one of these, not the same bike, but they tightened that to 44 Newton meters, I think. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I will have a look if I can find any torque settings, but this bolt here also tightens this, which keeps that in place as well. Okay, so I just had a quick test drive and it's actually working. So so the fix was actually good. Okay, so in the end, everything seems to be working fine. So that there is working fine. The cable is not snapped, only for some reason it's shortened. And by putting those little adjustments in here, it's kind of pushing the cable down and making sure it makes contact with that down there. So having said that, this is where I'm gonna end the video, because it's actually a successful fix and it could be a permanent one unless somebody can tell me what the problem might be. Perhaps someone a bit more experienced will know what is going on. Is it this here, or a shortened, or the cable is worn down and that's why it's not making contact? I'm not 100% sure, can't really say. However, I'm happy to have the Speedo working, because I think actually riding without the Speedo is a little bit dodgy, a bit dangerous really. So well, having said that, I hope the video helps. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video, and thank you for watching.